Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, the provincial government of Albay is planning to establish a nursing home for abused, neglected, and abandoned senior citizens. The proposed facility will provide shelter, medical care, counseling, and social reintegration for aged residents. It will be managed by the Provincial Social Welfare Development Office in coordination with health and social service agencies. Board member Greg Hallere's Committee on Senior Citizens and Persons with Disabilities is leading the review of the proposed ordinance. Once approved, the measure will institutionalize Albay's commitment to protect and care for its senior citizens. In other story, the Office of Civil Defense Region 5 has commended the Albay Public Safety and Emergency Management Office for its leadership in disaster preparedness and training programs. ABSEMO received a plaque of commendation during the Regional Program Implementation Review held in Legazpi City. Office of Civil Defense praised ABSEMO for its expertise in implementing DRRM training courses and capacitating officials down to the barangay level. The recognition also highlighted the Incident Command System All Hazards training that equipped responders with the skills to lead multi-agency operations during emergencies. ABSEMO reaffirmed its commitment to continue local DRRM initiatives that build resilience and community participation across Albay. In other news, the Albay Provincial Board is reviewing a new ordinance from the municipality of UAS granting cash incentives to senior citizens. The measure seeks to provide monetary awards and letters of felicitation to residents reaching ages 80, 90, and 100. It is anchored on the expanded Senior Citizens Act and the Centenarians Act, which mandate government recognition for the elderly. The proposal is now being evaluated by the Committee on the Senior Citizens and Persons with Disabilities chaired by Board member Greg Hallare. In the national scene, some government flood control projects have made flooding worse and may even need to be demolished, according to Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon during a Senate budget hearing. Dizon said findings from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DNR, revealed that several projects have failed to work as intended. He explained that some dikes block or narrow waterways, reducing their capacity and increasing the speed of water flow, which ends up in causing heavier flooding downstream. Senator Lauren Legarda noted that nearly half of the 5,300 flood control projects reviewed by the DNR's Water Resources Management Office showed irregularities. She also pointed out that flood management efforts in the country have long been fragmented and often planned along political boundaries instead of following natural waterways. Dizon admitted he had only recently learned about the DNR's project database, but assured lawmakers that the Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, would coordinate closely with the DNR to resolve these issues. DNR Undersecretary Carlos Primo David said many of the problems involve ghost projects, duplicates, or projects built in unsuitable locations such as areas without rivers or creeks. He added that the most damaging ones are those poorly positioned along river systems, disrupting the natural flow of water. He cited New Bataan in Davao de Oro as an example, where a dike was built that strengthened or straightened a naturally winding river. This forced floodwaters to move faster and hit downstream communities harder. David shared that the DNR is preparing a national flood management master plan in coordination with the DPWH. The plan follows the integrated water resources management approach, which views water, including flood water, as a valuable resource that can be used for irrigation, hydropower, aquaculture, and other productive purposes. The DNR has already started feasibility studies for 21 of these projects, now under review and consultation with local governments. Out of the 5,300 projects assessed from 2021 to 2024, only around 23% were confirmed to be effective. Because of the findings, DESAN recommended removing flood control projects from the 2026 national budget to help prevent corruption and ensure that future efforts are better planned and truly beneficial to communities. In other story, contractors Pacifico and Cesara are not eligible to become state witnesses due to their lack of cooperation and alleged involvement in irregular infrastructure projects, Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano said on Monday. Clavano explained that the couple is now considered hostile witnesses and may face charges for malversation of public funds, falsification of documents, and other related offenses. He stressed that the Vizcayas must be held accountable as part of the government's broader effort to address corruption in flood control and infrastructure programs. The controversy traces back to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s statement in his fourth State of the Nation address, denouncing officials and contractors accused of taking kickbacks from flood control projects. The Vizcayas was later identified among these linked contractors to several senators. Since then, they have admitted before the Senate that they paid lawmakers to secure projects and were once granted protected witness status, but have since stopped cooperating with investigators. Clavano said their sworn testimonies before Congress can still be used, though they are not, or they are incomplete and not strong enough to build a solid case. In other news, the Bureau of Fire Protection, BFP, is deploying over 27,500 firefighters across the country ahead for UNDAS 2025. The agency will also set up first aid stations and motorist assistance desks to help travelers during the holiday rush. The BFP is on heightened alert or code blue from October 28 to 29 and will shift to full alert or code red from October 30 to November 2. Officials said the deployment will help ensure quick response to emergencies and prevent fires in crowded areas, including cemeteries, transport terminals, and other busy spots. The BFP reminded the public to follow simple safety tips. 1. Put candles in stable, non-flammable holders and away from dried leaves, flowers, or trash. 2. Avoid overloading electrical outlets, especially when using extension cords. 3. Dispose of properly and do not burn leaves or garbage. And turn off the main circuit breaker if leaving your home unattended. The Bureau urges everyone to stay alert and safe while observing UNDAS this year. And in the news outside the country, Israel has ended the state of emergency in areas near the Gaza border, the first time since the Hamas attacks in October 2023. This change reflects a calmer security situation in the south of the country. The move comes as a ceasefire that started on October 10 continues to hold, allowing authorities to lift the special measures that had been in place for over 2 years. Previously, the state of emergency covered areas up to 80 kilometers from Gaza, giving officials extra powers to maintain order and protect civilians. In June 2025, the emergency was temporarily extended across all of Israel after strikes on Iran triggered retaliatory missile attacks from the Islamic Republic. With the emergency lifted near Gaza, daily life in the region can return to normal, signaling a period of relative stability for communities in southern Israel. In other story, at the ASEAN summit in Malaysia on Monday, Chinese Premier Li Qiang called for stronger economic ties and open trade, urging countries to uphold free trade and oppose protectionism. A clear reference to U.S. tariffs, Li emphasized safeguarding peace and stability in East Asia and advancing regional economic integration. The summit came after U.S. President Donald Trump's visit, where he oversaw trade framework agreements with 4 countries, though no tariffs were lowered. Trump also brokered an expanded ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney said he was ready to meet Trump to ease trade tensions and expected talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the upcoming APEC summit, though Trump stated he would not meet Carney for a while. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva struck a positive note after discussions with Trump, suggesting a more favorable trade deal than the current 50% tariffs on Brazilian goods. While leaders from China, Brazil, Canada, and the European Union focused on trade deals, U.S. representation in Kuala Lumpur was limited to lower-profile officials. And finally, in the news outside the country, the Philippines and Japan will boost defense and security cooperation after reaching an agreement in principle on an acquisition and cross-servicing agreement. The agreement allows both countries' militaries to share supplies like food, fuel, ammunition, and services like transportation and medical support, and enables resource sharing during military exercises. Talks on the ACSA began in April, and the foreign ministries will review the draft before signing. President Marcos highlighted the recent reciprocal access agreement and the first joint exercise, the Shin Bayanihan 525, held in October. Both leaders emphasized the importance of Philippine-U.S.-Japan cooperation for regional peace. They look forward to celebrating 70 years of diplomatic relations in 2026, and Japan promised support during the Philippines' ASEAN chairmanship next year. A cooperation memorandum will be signed at the Asia Zero Emission Community meeting by the end of October. And that's all for the News at 12, October 29, 2025. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writer, Albay PIO and Naomi Ruth Hernandez. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis. And our Provincial Information Officer, OIC, Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel E. Rizal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing.